We were looking at loading data in Stata, where we first looked at how do we load external files that are foreign to Stata like Excel. We now want to look at how do we load internal data files like DTA files. So port one, similar to how we load Excel files, is that we can go to file, and then from there we can choose open, right? So here we go to file and then we choose open. So this is one way. When you use this, what happens is the Stata, it it executes a corresponding command in the results window, which you can then copy into the do file for reproducibility, right? So when you use file open, the corresponding command for this is displayed in the result window, and you can copy from there into your do file. Approach two is to use the use command for Excel file. We use the import command. The syntax for that, remember, was import Excel file name, comma, options. Here, what we'll do is we can make use of the use command. So the syntax for that is use, and then in inverted commas, we have our path and file name. And then after comma, we've written clear. Now, a couple of things to notice that Stata's default data type is .dta. So when you're opening or saving a DTA file, you don't have to write .dta. Right? So you don't need to type that when opening or saving a Stata file. Right? So if I'm writing this use file name, I don't need to specify .dta. It's not necessary. You can just write it as use double inverted commas file name clear. Right? With Excel, the extension was .xls, but here it's .dta. And since that's Stata's default data type, so you don't have to necessarily type that. So we know whenever we're loading any data set, we should always use a clear option. Because if we rerun the do file and we don't have a clear option, so then Stata will give an error if you already have another data set open, right? So if I don't have the clear option and I'm running an entire do file, and if I try to load another data set and there's a data set that's already open, Stata will give an error. So let's look at an example to see how that is. Let's use file. Go to file, go to open, and then from here, what we can do is let's just open this data set, right? So we've opened this data set. So notice when I open this data set over here, Stata uh, executed the corresponding command over here, which I can then just copy from here into my do file, right? So when you use file open, Stata will give you the corresponding command which you can copy from here. Obviously, you could have written the command from yourself as well using the syntax that here now I can just add the clear option, because if we run entire do file, it will give us an error otherwise, right? So see, I can now execute it from here also directly. And here, like we said, you don't need to write .dta because that's Stata's default data type. So even if I omit the .dta here, Stata will still open it, right? But you can just keep it. So like we said, we can also open subset of a DTA file, load only some of the variables. Here we can see Stata open the entire data set with all these variables. If I'm only interested in opening a subset of this DTA file, what I can do is I can change the command later. Right, let's just add this here. So say I only wanted two variables, ID and kit. So what I'll do is after use, I'll write the variable names that I want, ID, kit, and then we'll write using. We're following this syntax here. Okay, this is how you open a subset of a DTA file. Use variable names. In this case, the variable names that I want in the data set. In this case, I just want ID and kit. Then using, then file name, and then comma there. And now notice when I do this, so data will open only a subset of the file, which is ID and kit. So in this way, you can open internal data files like DTA files. You can use file open. In that case, the corresponding command is executed in the results window. You can copy it from there in your do file and edit it, or you can directly use the use command, right? For this, you write your file path and file name, and then after comma, you use clear, right? And then obviously over here, we know we can also open a subset of the DTA file using this syntax.